welcome to my podcast, Melancholy Guy Talks. And right now, I'm talking about recovery, living with addiction. In this podcast, I'm sharing my life through my life while being an open, polyamorous African American male living in recovery. I am the Melancholy Guy, Calvin, or CPJR if you know me. And today, I definitely believe that change I must or die I will. To learn more about the Melancholy Guy, go to Instagram and click the link in the Instagram bio. Also, with the donation of just $1, you can have access to all my first series on ethical monogamy, the fun stuff that started my podcast journey. See my Patreon page for more info. Links in the show notes and in the Instagram bio. So let's talk. Today's date is 8/20/2020, and it's been 197 days since I felt the need to pick up my drug of choice. Today's episode is Making Amends, Getting It Right, episode 64. This show will consist of 3 segments: the weekly check-in, the discussion topic, and the Ask An Addict question of the week. This is the format that I experienced the many times that I was in intensive outpatient treatment, so it seems appropriate now as this show is truly an integral part of my recovery process. Welcome or welcome back. Please come in, sit down, and have a seat, and we will begin this week's session. And I'm going to start the check-in today, as usual. So, the check-in today is I've been feeling great. Like I said in the intro, I still haven't felt the need to pick up my drug of choice. I do consider myself still in recovery, as I've talked about in many episodes before this one. You know, that word recovery and where you are in your journey is debatable. And right now I can say that I'm still in recovery. How can I say that, I guess? Well, I just can say that by looking at my current trajectory. What's been happening since the 97 days? You know, how have I been conducting myself on a daily basis? I could say that I've determined that I have been conducting myself in the best way. I decided that it's time for me to go and find a therapist, and I've made my first appointment. And my first appointment is next week, and I'll be after that. I do plan on probably seeing a therapist or group therapy. We'll see what they say on a weekly basis. And why I'm saying that is because I'm gonna blend this in the check-in before I go into the new, into the discussion topic. But the check-in, I must say that while I'm not acting in addictive ways, or I'm not hiding anything or lying about things or conducting myself in any suspicious way or just fucking getting high. It seems as though I still need to work on me some more. I feel as though if I don't continue to work on me, the little bit that I say about in the beginning of the show, change I must or die I will, things are going to start to die. And that's terrible to feel. It's terrible for me to realize that I could have things die in my life that I'm not even using. And it's not because, so I have to look at myself and say that using wasn't using while using was a big problem in my life. It probably wasn't the only problem in my life. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason for me to use, and it just is coming. I would say it's probably coming to a head because of, I live with someone. And we're more than roommates. We're partners. But every time there's a situation or something breaks down as far as communications or feelings or, daily routine, it's me. And not because anyone has done anything to me or anything like that. It's because of excuse me. It's because of my feelings, or I'm having a hard time, or I should say I'm having some issues around just handling emotions that I think that most people at my age should be able to handle, and maybe not, because some of the things that I have to deal with in my relationship, because I always say that my life is an intersection of, recovery and E&M, which is ethical non-monogamy. I have to deal with things that people who may not be open or ethical non-monogamy have to deal with, and for me, where I am, or where I thought I was in my ethical non-monogamy, these things, the way that situations are presenting themselves, I shouldn't be having the issue or the issues that I've had over the past couple weeks. Not dealing with anything like, I should say, not dealing with anything that I would normally call jealousy, but just some things that has me kind of thrown off, or maybe before, when I was going through these things. First of all, I'm in a much different relationship than I've ever been in before in my ethical non-monogamous life, because I'm having to deal with things that I would present to my other partner. These same things being presented to me, and I should say that it's probably, I should say, it's like before, I guess. I could say we started out as swingers, and then I started dating other people, whereas my last partner, or last nesting partner, slash ex-wife, did not date other people unless we dated them together. So I'm having to just navigate this whole, I guess, new part of my ethical non-monogamy, which I'm up for. I'm up for the challenge. I was just not expecting the emotions that I felt. Okay, so that showed me in a way I handled the situation, is I brought not confusion or anything. There was no confusion, no drama, or anything like that. It was just that I just got to the point where I couldn't actually process or talk about my feelings in a helpful and productive way, and that kind of messed up the whole situation, or the whole, I guess messed up the whole situation, or the whole experience for my partner, and that kind of sucks for me, because I do believe in compersion. I do feel compersion. I'm glad she had a great night. It's just that I just did not prepare myself, or was not ready to handle those new emotions. And one of the things that I did want to do is I did want to medicate in a certain way, so that I wouldn't feel some of the emotions that I felt, and that was irresponsible. And so, after we went to the beach, Kimberly and I went to the beach, and we had a serious conversation. And it was one of those productive conversations that I had at the beach. We had a great time at the beach. But it was this is the first time I've been to the beach in 9 years. But it was one of the most serious conversations that I could say I had with a woman that I was with, who was telling me who told me in a very adult way, and I was very impressed with the way she told me this, that she has done the work in her life for a number of years to get to a point where she wants to just enjoy her life. And if I can't be a part of that, that's fine. We can redefine our relationship, and be roommates. But I think that what we really wanted to be was partners. That shit fucking blew my mind. I'm on the beach, and I'm listening to this, right? And I'm a little like in my vibe on the beach, and I'm listening to this, and I'm like, God damn. I'm like, what I'm hearing is this, right? It was the sweetest ultimatum that I ever had in my life, right? The ultimatum specifically was, look, I've done this shit. I've done the work that I need to do to be happy. So if you're not willing to do the same work that I've done in my life to be happy, that's fine. We can just switch over. But I want to be in this life and be happy with you. That was like, okay, let me go ahead and call these people on Monday. Let me get these appointments. Because obviously, I'm not here to mess up anyone's life, right? I'm one thing that I wanted to do. One of my intentions was to be a good partner, but also my intention is to be happy. So if I'm in a house, in a home with someone who we work to set this house up in a way that we wanted it together, and she's been so accommodating to me being here and being a part of this entire process, that the only problems that I'm having right now is me dealing with my own shit, so that's job one right there. I got on the phone the next, like I said, Monday, and got to work on that, and those things are falling into place because I'm ready to go to the next level. And like, it's not for, like I said, not for her. I mean, whatever happens, I still believe that Kimberly and I will always be friends and partners. But I hope, my serious hope is that our relationship is even deeper than any relationship that I've ever had before, because the potential is just there. You know what I'm saying? Because we just vibe on such a deep level that it's not that I don't want to lose that. It's that I just know there's so much more there. So this week has been well, not this week, but since the last time I guess I've been here, I guess I'm checking in and saying that there's been some changes in my life and the way I feel about recovery, abstinence, sobriety, and what we call clean time, and the difference between sober and clean. But I'll talk about that more. But I do want to get back on the track where I was, and I'm gonna come up to. Oh, I'm gonna talk about one more thing about the check-in. There's a lot going on. Probably sounded tired. I was pending this weekend. Kimberly's in California, so working every day. Pandemic. This house has a lot of people coming in and out. It's just a lot going on. Not a lot of people, I shouldn't say that, but there are people visiting all the time. And travel seems to be a big component when I'm usually up for traveling. It's just right now during this whole time I'm not kind of like keen on it too much. And there's some things that I want to get together. So some new changes coming for the show. We'll be investing money into some new equipment. More about DMV Podcaster Studio. I'll share more about that. But it's some pent up things that I've been saying I want to do for a long time that I'm finally gonna be able to do. Because I've been working and actually saving money. Anyway. I'll let that go. All right, so I'm gonna go on to the next segment. I'm gonna talk about the subject, and the reason I'm gonna talk about making amends. I got 3 shows lined up. I think I got making amends. I got another show on Dogma, and I got another show on that I want to do on clean and what is clean and what is sober. Those 2 times. What do those mean? Because I'm going to talk about my program and what I'm doing. Right now, my program is about this podcast, going to therapy, and working. And working. And then working on me too. And definitely not using crack cocaine. So I'm going to talk about making amends, which is one of the steps of the programs in AA. But making amends is something that I'm putting like. Anyway, making amends is an interesting case because, or not interesting case. It's an important step because it's actually a step of spiritual work. Because I find myself right now. Why this is important to me is that right now, where I am in my recovery, like 197 days or whatever, I don't have, for like the last 6 years, my life has been, for the last 6 years or so, 7, 8 years, today's 2020, so we can go back to like 2013, 2014, so 7 years. has been a total. It's been a total downward spiral. I should say. I want to say it's been a total downward spiral. Even though I was able to, keep, certain jobs, keep certain money coming in. I didn't have any like. Only thing I could think, or for some reason, the only thing that I could think about was, um, you know, relationships, being in the ethical non-monogamous community, and um, working and trying to, not do drugs when I was constantly doing drugs. So I really wasn't working on anything. So now I get to this point now where I'm with someone and I'm having to work and live this normal life now. I kind of like my mind keeps going back to, um, how I was living just last year. 6 years ago. It's like before. It seemed to be before when I was living like one or two, like 2012, 2013, 2014. So I had this other life that supposedly kept me so busy and so entrenched and so involved that I never had a chance to think about, all the garbage and trash stuff I was doing out here. Right? I didn't have time to think about the people I was hurting, my ex-wife, my ex-partners. I didn't have time to think about that because I kept moving, kept going. But now that I'm slowing down, I don't have I don't have those same things to think about. Now I'm starting to think about how I was living over the last 6 years. How I really was not doing anything, and that it kind of creeps into my mind and my conversation because I don't like idle conversation. I want to talk about real conversation, and I find myself like not really wanting to talk to too many people. If you aren't either involved in some type of recovery community, if you aren't involved in some type of ethical non-monogamous community, I really just don't want to talk to you because it's just like too much. Like my life has been either in that field, in that area, or this area, and those are the two areas that I've been dealing with. So it's like if you haven't been involved in those areas for the last like 6 years, 10 to 6 years, I don't have anything really in common with you. So I think for me it'll be great to go into this to this therapy and talking to this therapist so I can understand what exactly you know I probably have relationships. I've settled on is that I'm gonna have to let a lot of relationships go because I think that some people may not just want to be they may not want to know me now. Okay, and that's something that I have to accept. They may have wanted to hear about my past in a different way. Maybe they wanted to hear about it during that time. Maybe it's been too long. But a lot of people that I may have thought I've known or thought I had a relationship, I just gotta let that go. There's no making amends for that. And I want to just read a little bit from this little page I found on the internet about making amends is more than just an apology. More than just an apology. No one is perfect. We as humans are inevitably bound to make mistakes throughout our lives. And these stumbling blocks and errors in judgment oftentimes mold us. Our characters are built from our experiences, both good and bad. There is no shame in admitting that we were wrong. And that's one thing I've definitely embraced for myself. Like you can say there's no shame. You're definitely gonna feel shame admitting some of the things you're wrong. Like I have two daughters. One I'm estranged from, and one I'm have a relationship with. But I don't think that for me, I don't think that I'm the father that she needs right now, and I can't be. And that feels cruddy. You know what I'm saying? That feels bad. Um, we want to be able to help out your daughter in a certain way, and you can't, right? But for me, to make an amends is I can be here. You know what I mean? I could be here. I can listen, I can add advice, and then as time goes on, I'll be able to help more and more. But part of my amends to her and even to my estranged daughter is to learn how to live my life better now, so that at least let them know that I can be here, that I'm here now as a resource if need be, and I'm here now for a relationship if they desire more than the relationship that they already have now. And that's about, for me, that's about making amends. It's the whole change life piece. And I want to read this one part. The most important part of making amends is to ensure you undertake a complete change in your behavior and a whole new approach of how do you live your life. And I think that brings me right up to what I was talking about earlier. Is that it's just like I've done this 197 days without going out and using my drug of choice and all of the behavior that goes with that. Because if I do that, I'm just gone. I'm not here. And I know it may seem like I haven't been here because I haven't been doing a regular podcast, but I've been here doing a lot. Just moving into this condo and working every day and getting this place up to par has been a lot. Traveled a lot more than I've traveled more this year than I've traveled in the last 6 years. So just a lot going on, and I want to do this show more regularly. But I'm glad I'm going to get a therapist because I have to really start organizing my thoughts, right? I hate to think that I've come this far not to be able to go further. So we'll see as time goes on. I'm definitely dedicated to doing this show. It's just like I have to, bring the energy in here and do it, to sit down and do the show, because I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for me to talk about, but I'm hearing myself talk. But I don't know if I'm hearing myself talk about what I need to actually get to, right? What is it that I need to get to after 197 days, right? What is it that I need to get to that, I have a good rapport on my job. I have, money in the bank, starting to get money. They're starting to get, people start to trust me to do things for them and all that kind of stuff. What's next, right? Because what I had before is just not going to work this time, right? So I'm definitely, like I said, have to be getting a therapist. So we got different types of amends we can make as addicts. And I say amends are important because it's spiritual. It's basically you trying to correct some of the harm that you've done. There's no the DSM-5. You can look up you're gonna do harm to people. Drugs take a lot of money to do successfully. They take a lot of time. They take a lot of your attention. They take a lot of your energy. So there's damage to relationships. That's the one thing that can restore you from drugs is relationships. And one thing that I have from having a lifelong relationship with drugs is that I have a hard time maintaining relationships. I have to admit that now. And if I didn't have a relationship that I have with Kim, this would not be working. If I didn't have the relationship that I have with her, you know what I mean? If she wasn't the person that she was, and if I didn't understand that, what I think that she needs for somebody to give her, it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. So I must be not working on some parts, and it isn't, and that's what I'm going to work on. But it's on me. That's definitely on me. So let's see. Making amends. Making amends is important because it's basically you trying to go back and fix relationships and situations that you messed up. It's also teaching you humility. It's teaching you how to. It's having you confront your past. It's important to confront your past. It's important to make peace with your past. So there's ways to make amends. There's direct amends, indirect amends, living amends. and living amends. I guess that's the three types of amends there are. But and I want to read this one last part about why it's important to make amends. Addiction can often destroy friendships, ruin work relationships, and tear families apart. By making amends, you will have a chance to reconnect with people um, who you have negatively affected or hurt as a result of your addiction. But it's not going to be easy. You may feel vulnerable or anxious, or you may be afraid of rejection from those who you are trying to make up with. The benefits of amends are numerous. However, and are worth fighting for. Reconciliation is a key step toward recovery, and if you choose not to make amends with the people you have wronged, you'll be cutting yourself off from future opportunities. By choosing to be honest and humble, and when addressing your mistakes, the doors leading towards your recovery will open a little bit wider, and a sense of closure and peace will begin to grow. So that's what I'm saying now. Basically, making amends is looking back and taking action about your past, and not, and it's gonna be hard. I mean, like for me, I've reached out to people and people have just blocked me or just not responded to me or just said thank you and left it at that. People who I thought that I would be able to restore a relationship with or have a relationship with going forward. It's just not possible. And I understand and I accept it and I accept that, you know what I mean? Because I have to go on and I have to understand. And all I want to do is like give peace, let them know that closure, that it was nothing that they did or anything that they need to concern themselves with. Just live in peace. If you happen to think about it at all, I hope that I never bring anything up. Like if people have me blocked, keep me blocked. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you've made peace with it, and that's how you've made peace with it. Whatever happened, what happened? I hurt people. I lied to people, and for that, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna leave it right there with that. It's a heavy subject for me to talk about, and I hope to, as I start making these amends and going to therapy and getting some more words to share with you and some more actionable items to share with you, I hope to share those with you going forward. So I'm gonna leave that there, and I'm gonna go to my last segment, ask a recovering addict, and I put a question out on social media on my Instagram page about asking a recovering addict something that you may want to ask, that you've been curious about, why people become addicts or whatever kind of questions you want to ask. I never get that question, but I always go out and find a question for this segment because I like this segment, or the idea of this segment. I'll like it one day when I start getting questions. So here you go. I picked up one. Somebody posted it in a group that I'm a member of. Because, and this is like fill in the blank at the end, right? And I think it was great for me because it's like these questions are so basic, right? But they're so deep. Because of my recovery, I can, and then finish the sentence. Because of I put down. Because of my recovery, I can be trusted to go to the store with money and come home. And that's a big deal. That's a huge deal, and I really appreciate that. And it's the little things, It's just the little things to be able to go pick up, something to eat. Somebody just to trust you. So little things just to have the money to go pick up something to eat whenever you want it. But then also to be able to, borrow someone's car, or even have a car, and trust yourself not to take your own car and mess it up, or take someone else's car and mess it up. So that's a blessing today, And with that, I'm gonna leave that there. But I'm gonna take one more minute, one more second for some quiet time for the still suffering addict, and just reach out and say if you are having any addiction type issues, Recovery is possible, one day at a time. You have to make your intentions known. That's what you really want to do and start working towards those goals. The first part is just stopping, and most of the time we know what to do to stop. We have to commit to stopping, then find out what our triggers are and start mitigating those. But then the most important thing is to start setting intentions of how you want your life to be and start working towards those intentions on a daily basis. That's definitely what's doing it for me and what did it for me and what got me living out of a basement to living where I'm at now, and to not being able to hold a job to successfully holding a job now. So it is possible, one day at a time. You just have to decide that's what you want to do, or decide what you don't want to do anymore. All right, so I guess this show is special. This is gonna be the last. Well, I'm not gonna talk about it. You know, it's funny. I went to buy. I record this on YouTube for the people that didn't know it. If you happen to listen to the show, it's also recorded on YouTube. There's a whole YouTube channel for it. And I've been trying to buy a camera for years. And the moment I get myself into the spot, into shape where I can actually afford to buy the camera, have the camera, actually went out and bought the camera, but the camera's been on back order for so long. The camera that I want is good in low light. That it's impossible to buy. And then I just can't buy it. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed on and buy some other things that are still available. This is because of the pandemic. I guess everyone's working from home, so there's a shortage of quality web cameras. And so I'm just going to keep on using my old little grainy webcam until I get the one I actually want. I don't think anybody watches the video anyway. But I enjoy making it. And I enjoy spending this time talking to you about my life and recovery. And coming up, it's more ethical now. This is my first. I'm just gonna say this before I end the show. This is my first. I should say nesting polyamorous relationship, because my other one really wasn't polyamorous. We both are polyamorous. Both are open to dating other people. She dates more other people than I do right now currently. But there's more polyamorous stuff coming, because there's polyamorous stuff happening in the house. So we'll probably have some little mini segments on that coming up, because polyamory is not for little people. It's for big people. It's for grown-ups, adults. You would definitely confront some issues within yourself with dealing with polyamorous partners, or ethically non-monogamous partners for that matter. And I'm grateful for that, to tell you the truth. I really am. Okay, I guess that's going to be the end of the show. That's great. I thank you for listening. The next episode, I think, is either going to be on dogma. That's dogma in the ethical the recovery community, the rooms. Dogma in the literature, about how there's only one way for everyone to get clean. I'm going to talk about that, my views on that. And then I'm going to talk about the difference between sobriety and clean time, and what clean time and what sobriety is. I'll talk about that too. And so I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. I thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. I guess I'll see you next week. And I'm going to have a good way of closing. Remember, always remember to love and respect yourself first, and everything else will take care of itself. Peace and namaste.